We're back, and we've got a wonderful guest to start our show with this morning. He's an author, and his name is Tim Desmond. Hi, Tim.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's good to have you here. So you're an author?
Yes.
When did you start writing?
Oh, probably in high school.
In high school?
But life gets in the way, so.
Always.
work. Yeah, so.
The wonderful thing about being retired is then you can do what you want to do, right?
Well, I started before I was retiring. I mean, so my first published thing was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Then I retired 5 years ago. But this book, Pappy, Buttler, is the fourth novel published.
Wow.
And so...
What, could you give us an idea of what some of the other books are about?
Well, the first one published was a World War II war story and love story, a flashback story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one was an ebook only. It was never in print, called The Doc. And it's a conspiracy story. And then later, that got picked up by a print publisher and was out 2 years ago. And that it was called The Doc Revised Version, or a revised edition.
Uh-huh.
And it was the same basic story, but I had changed it so much in the print version that it's different premise almost. But it was the same conspiracy, Confederate reenactors in trouble with Homeland Security.
Oh, Confederate.
Yeah, when it was first written, there was no Homeland Security.
Uh-huh.
And so that got added into it during the late 2000s. So, and this one is my fourth book, third one in print, Pappy, Buttler, and his zero time theory.
Wow.
So the elevator pitch on this one is that he's a high school physics teacher. His marriage is on the rocks. He's frustrated because he can't get his theory published.
Uh-huh.
He's in trouble with his employer in his district over what could be petty issues, but it escalates. He ends up even getting in legal trouble. And he goes to a conference and he meets these professors working in the field that he's trying to get his paper in. And he gets, without knowing it, caught in between this rival between these two professors. But it's probably the saddest story I've ever written, and the way it turns out. But it has a lot of turns and twists, and there's the legal thing going on. And then there's a lot about the theory, though, the zero-time theory. And it gets into some of these other theories being researched, like gravity or the new gravity, and the Higgs boson stuff going on. But I don't dwell on all that because it's really too much.
Right.
But his theory is kind of simple. But
tell me, what is the zero time?
He, back in his past, had read it's parapsychology, which is an area not accepted by hardcore physicists, but ESP and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But it's hinged around. He never gets over the fact he read this account of a World War II Pacific soldier that was killed on the beaches in one of the Pacific attacks on the Japanese. And his mother in Iowa is awakened and hears her son's voice say, "It's all right, Mom."
Huh.
So the writer of that story researched that, and it turned out the exact time that soldier died on the beach was the exact same time that the mother was awakened by hearing her son.
Wow.
And he never got over reading that. In fact, he couldn't even find his original source when he wanted to. And so to him, there was some medium. It transcended even the speed of light, which is electron motion that we all live by. Mm-hmm. To him, there's a different realm where there was no time barrier. zero time of a transmission of this communication.
Oh, I totally believe in that.
So-
I mean, that there's spiritual time too. as
That's what
well
his theory is, and that's what he could
Yeah.
never get published.
Oh,
So-
well, you
so
get
he's
this
working on it.
published. That's great.
Yeah. So
Well, that's really fantastic. What made you think about writing this book?
well, some of it is based on the fact that in 1964, I'm a first-year art student. It's arts and crafts in Oakland, and I live near the old Piedmont downtown district, which was Piedmont Avenue runs from the Grand Theater up to the foothills there. And there was an old dusty bookstore there, and I actually read that story, and I could never find it again. And then I end up being a science teacher, teaching physics and chemistry, and mostly biology, for most of my career, 36 years.
I think you'll sort of agree with me that there's no coincidences.
Yeah,
Everything
has a reason.
everything is planned too. I mean, you do something, you think, oh, that's unimportant, and then coming up here said, oh, that's important.
Yeah, so that's where the story got started, and the whole thing. It's set in Florida instead of California, where I taught, and I've visited several places in Florida. I don't know, maybe half a dozen times, with family living there. In Central Florida, actually on the Gulf Coast, it's a lot like San Joaquin Valley. There's a lot of small towns connected by the highway that was a lot like 99 back 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I felt right at home there,
That's
although it's a little
fantastic.
more humid.
Okay, so where can people get this book? I mean, this is
Well,
a
this
very
Saturday,
interesting
I'm
book.
kicking off the summer book tour with a signing at the Postal Annex at Fig Garden Boulevard, out by the Loop. Okay, I'm doing right on the sidewalk at the Postal Annex, and a donut shop next door. I kind of pitch it as a book and a chocolate donut. And then I have other places planned. Madera Ranchos Library, Madera County Library, Fresno Library. But some of the library things aren't set yet because they have a huge summer reading schedule that they have to plan around. And then there's a cake shop in Sonora. I have plans to go to Sonora and then Sacramento.
Great, that's a great idea.
Oh, at the Book Barn in Clovis.
Yeah.
And that date's not set yet either. There's a small shop has my books up in Oakhurst in that area. So I don't have firm dates on that, and there wouldn't be enough time to give them all here anyway. But
Okay.
so-
Well, we know that you are doing signings, and somebody's going to say, oh, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just enjoyed this so much. Thank you so
But
much
again,
for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Nice to
been
meet you,
wonderful.
and thank you.
We'll be right back.